Hi guys, we are the Three Faces in the Dark. I'm Joseph, and I'm back here with Bias Opinion and Big L. So this week we are going to talk about how the league is going for us. So we'll start with our league start builds. So as for myself, I started a Pathfinder, Scourge Arrow Totems, a Ballistas, right? And currently I think it's quite okay, and uh, still there's quite a lot to upgrade, like getting the Covenant chest and uh, six links. Yeah, getting the six links and stuff like that. So currently it's still quite squishy because it's still the league start. Nothing much has been uh, yet. And okay, now I will hand over to Big L to talk about his league start build.
Yeah. Hello. Yep. So for my league start, I actually league started a Pyroclast Mine Inquisitor. The reason that I always go traps or mine builds in the beginning is for the damage. But after maybe sinking in about 2 divine worth of currency into linking my chest, I actually got my Victario's Influence 6 link. It is a +5 chest for mines. So for players that don't know, mines actually now have the aura tag. So just by using a normal Victario's Influence, it is a +1 gem to all mine skills already. So I happened to bought one that has the implicit for AoE and Trap and Mines Corruption. That was a very cheap buy for me because I snipe it for 5 chaos. But the Scourge currency that I use, the Tainted Fusing and Jewelers, cost about 2 divine. Uh, all in all, currently I'm running a 6 link chest with my skills. I don't see the damage being the damage is good, but I feel like my character is dying here and there. So I'm not sure if I'm using to under uh whether my character is under geared for T16s, but yeah, it's just that doesn't feel good. Currently, my league start is okay. I have dropped about 3 divine raw, but I think other than that, my luck hasn't been particularly strong. Um, I'm thinking to change my setup to icicle mines just for some crowd control. Yep, I think that's the plan for now. Then eventually this Templar that I have started will go into Shockwave Totem for farming Sanctum. That's the maybe the second or third week plan.
Fellow Shockwave Totem would-be enjoyer here. I league started the Guardian because I saw this post on Reddit that had this sick Sentinel or Radiance thing. It was amazing through the campaign. Like, I really think it is overpowered when you're leveling through the campaign. But once you hit maps, right, it's a bit weird. Because it's really quite clunky to play around. I think it might actually be really strong in Blight, actually. So, and since I'm a Blight enjoyer, I might be the only Blight enjoyer left in Singapore. Uh, I think I might look more into it for league starting the next league. But since I also tried Soul Rest on the Guardian. I think it's it's a skill issue because like I tried the Soul Rest, I had the 6 sockets and I didn't feel like I dealt enough damage. It didn't feel like the clear was very good, even with the triple elemental auras that the Guardian gave. But I'm pretty sure that isn't the fault of the Guardian. I'm very sure that's really a skill problem, skill issue. Mm, what else? Now I I respect over from Guardian over to Hierophant. Had quite a bit of problems. Had to spend like 40, 50 regrets respecking everything out. Spent a lot on that. And like had to figure out how to spec over to totems. Tried annihilating light, but I was so squishy and it's not like I dealt that much more damage compared to a dual wand setup. So I kind of got beaten by that one. Luckily there's always Tetian Tells Arctic Breath totems. I switched over to that and I'm fine now. Trying to clear out my Atlas. I did quite a lot of the league mechanic, which we can talk about later. And think that's about it for me. Right.
Okay, so now we'll talk about the new league mechanic, the 12 the Ancestor. So for myself, I think this is one of the best league mechanic, which is very enjoyable. And I think only today they just buffed the rewards, but previously it was for the past few days, just talking about the mechanic itself, it was quite enjoyable. And the the way that uh, the league the mechanic is like auto battler with you yourself trying to support. You are the wild card in the whole mechanic.
Was the league mechanic buff though? I saw like some hot fix, but I'm not really sure what happened.
So I think they buffed the reward for the higher rankings as you climb. But currently, as my build is still quite squishy, then it's climbing quite slowly. I think I only just hit ranking 300s. But looking at Reddit, people at ranking 7, 800s, they are getting like the rewards are like Find Divine or like the Brothers Stash, Brothers Gift. Yep.
Wait, maybe it's time for me to go back to the league mechanic. I actually like the league mechanic a lot, but I stopped playing it because the rewards were quite bad. And I also saw on Reddit that it's the maximum seems to be 2,000 and you can't go past 2,000 rating. Also, this hasn't been shared on any of the videos, and well, I doubt anybody listens to this podcast, so I'm like very happy to share like broken strategies here. Nobody's gonna steal it from us. So if you use decoy totems, you can actually circumvent a huge part of the game. So anything that taunts, minions are strong, obviously, because people already knew that like if you could do damage while channeling the totems is really good. But if you put a decoy totem in the middle of the enemy base, it will actually grab anybody that respawns. So you can actually attack the totem. It's actually way better than killing them because if you stun or if you let them hit the decoy totem, right, they actually are taken out of the fight longer than if, let's say, you kill them and they are respawning because the respawn timers are actually quite fast at the start. I think in the future, maybe the weird builds like knockback builds and taunt totem builds, right, will be the ones that will let you power farm, not damage as what we initially thought.
Okay, so to be honest, I haven't touched the league mechanic at all because after playing PoE for so many years, I've come to realize that most of the league mechanic that GG implements for the new league is almost always overtuned, and normally the fixes should come during the first week. It used to be the first month, but nowadays they are a bit faster. They usually fix most of the league mechanic by the first week. So yeah, to be honest, I can't give any more insights about this, but it seems to me like if you want to do any amount of defense, because I've heard of my friends who are playing like very thick juggernauts, they are being one-shotted by some of the boss there. Seems like they have some form of overwhelm damage. And so to me, it seems like, so if damage and defenses can't work, so the only play around this new league mechanic is for crowd control. So I'm looking into ways to control, like maybe you think of builds that can freeze knockbacks. Those should be the strongest crowd control that you can apply to all these new league mechanics. And potentially, like what Bias talked about, you can crowd control them long enough and you can actually channel your totems to win the game.
Are you sure they fix it in like the first few weeks though? What about Mirror of Calandra?
Okay, so as someone that really hate that league itself, Calandra League is the 3.19 league. I think it's only second to Expedition, where people realize that a lot of their uniques got nerfed, the Exalt diff changed, so that league was actually quite a disaster. Yeah, the league mechanic was kind of, at least the players' sentiment that league was actually just, it seems like GG abandoned that league. So you just gotta deal with what you're handed, man. For us, I'm just rushing for a challenge 40-40 and then I get the fuck out of the game. So yeah, for me, that league was such a mood. And I think Trial of the Ancestors will be better, because it seems like currently there's a divide between some people who are enjoying the mechanic a lot, but some are just saying that the rewards are not enough. So I believe that the people who are on the camp where they say that the rewards are not enough, they will be joining the game soon, because GG has recently just buffed the league mechanic, right? So yeah, so definitely more people will be farming the league mechanic, means more tattoos will be around, and that there will be more supply, which means some of the valuable tattoos will become cheaper. And that's good for me.
Also, right, for those people who don't like the league mechanic, Sanctum is back and it's super powerful. I think I should have bought more, but I sniped some Sanctum logbooks for like 2 to 3C at the start of the league. I think it was 5 the last I checked. I remember I was able to sell 110C one last night. I'm not sure what the logbooks are right now.
Okay, so as someone who actually like to play Sanctum, I will say that the new Sanctum, we can actually talk about this, but since I think I played the most during Sanctum League itself, so there is a very stark difference between the Sanctum currently back in the game and the Sanctum that we have played in the past. In the past, they actually give you a lot of the relics that gives you inspiration whenever you get an affliction. So that mod trivializes Sanctum back when you had all the gear. But the current Sanctum actually is so much harder that there's multi factors to it. So first, the rooms themselves, there are a few new tile sets where it used to be you can just circle around and kill the boss, kill the guards, but now they installed lasers. So if you go into the Sanctum, you go into this battle arena, you will fight guards along with lasers that will shoot you. And all of those will take away your resolve and inspiration very quickly. Second, like I said just now about the inspiration nerf, there isn't much inspiration now on the gain inspiration per affliction relic. More of nowadays they want you to play around what you have, your maximum resolve. So I think that's the meta there. People have to figure out how to get max resolve. The Accursed pack that we used to like to take, the one that minus your max resolve for inspiration, that one has been nerfed already. It used to cut 200 of your max resolve for 200 inspiration, but now the inspiration number went down to 100. So think carefully before you choose. But Sanctum remains one of the best money printer in the game. That's how I see it.
I really like the current implementation though. Back then you had to run to Sanctum, you get one room every map. Now you get an entire Sanctum run. in one logbook, which is really nice, I think.
I think the current implementation, it's all right. It basically, but the problem is, do you find every tome per 32 maps? You don't. So, if they balance it around that rate, it seems like people are just buying up tombs from like 5C to 10C. They just stock up one whole stash tab of tomes, and then they run all the way. Oh yeah, and I also want to add, for sanctums, actually you can only play a certain builds, especially glass cannon builds, right? You want to zerg all the monsters down before they even have a chance to take your resolve away. So I think Sanctum is it's like a side content like Hive and Delve, where you actually have to play certain builds for it to maximize your gains. So the weird thing is that people like to play Sanctum because the rewards are very obvious, whereas Delve and Hive is not that much obvious. Hive, mainly the money comes from the ops and the unusual gems, whereas Delve is more of the resonators, the occasional Owl Amulet. That's about it. So yeah, I think different people, different poisons. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we are going really far off topic, but like one thing about the league mechanics, right, is that I think it's fair for people to require different builds for different league mechanics. I remember back then when we were talking about Legion, ED Contagion was the Legion clearing build, and not just because it was like the numbers were good back then because it got nerfed after Legion, but because it chained. So like Vault, Arc Lightning, for example, anything that chain was actually really strong in Legion. So I really like the idea of builds being strong for certain build mechanics. And I just found out because like I'm not a Bone Shatter enjoyer. One of my friends who start Bone Shatter told me that you don't actually clear Legion with Bone Shatter, and I was actually quite surprised because I thought it was a famous map clearing. Yeah.
Oh, when talking about the Crown of the Ancestors, right? I thought I read somewhere that they were saying that they're gonna add a revive timer so that we can track how long we need to revive. But it's been a couple of days and it's not added to the game yet, and so it's quite frustrating. And today's patch, right? I saw that they fixed a bug that uh you are supposed to have some uh invincibility time after you revive, but currently I'm just getting one shot straight away being when I'm being revived, and that is like quite irritating.
Well, sounds like skill issue to me. Just don't die, Kappa.
And then right, it's like when you're channeling the totems, and then once they hit you, you're stunned there for like 5 seconds. But as I'm playing Scourge Arrow, right, I have like so many projectiles flying around, but it doesn't seem like I'm stopping the enemy from channeling my totems.
I have a real suspicion that because there's no real reason why you cannot there's no real mechanical reason why you cannot stop the channeling immediately, right? Because the moment you left click, you start the channeling, and then the moment you let go, the channeling stops. I suspect the enemy might be either immune to the stun, like you have mentioned, or their AI is doing like some frame perfect stop channeling stopping, which would be something GGG would do, honestly speaking. Let's be real.
So can I confirm that if you use decoy totem, it will actually make them not make the enemies not channel the totem?
Yes, I can confirm that if you put down a decoy totem, if the enemy is able to be taunted, because there are some units that cannot be taunted in the game mode. If the enemy is able to be taunted, you can taunt them off the totem. And there's one other thing that the decoy totem is strong against is that they have this mob called camouflage tatuas or something like that, where you have the dogs which you cannot target at all unless they start touching your totem, or if for me I put a totem to block them and they might hit the totem. So using a decoy totem, you can taunt them out of invisibility. So even though they're invisible, they'll still get taunted.
Okay, so I think the mob that you refer actually comes out from Sanctum. There's a lot of invisible dogs there. Yeah, so yeah, okay. It means that I have to put some totems around my gameplay also lah. So decoy totem with Flamewood seems like the play. So we have to sacrifice 2 gem slots for that.
Actually, that might work. But one thing I want to note is I think if you use multiple totems, it is better for decoy totems. Because not for the decoy itself, but I meant if you use multiple totems in your main damage setup. Because if you don't use multiple totems in your main damage setup, for example, now I have 5 totems, right? With the multiple totems. I use so I have 4 that is damaging and 1 decoy totem. Right. If not, I would have 3 totems. So 2 will damage and 1 will be the one that is the decoy totem. Which is I've done the math in my head, which might not be correct. But let's say your last link, if your last link is around like 20% more, that's like 240%. 240% of your spell damage, right? I remember correctly, if you use multiple spell totems, you have like around 40 to 30% less, and that's like 60% on each spell totem. 80% on each spell totem. You have around 20% less, I think. So 4 would be 320%. Yeah. When it's 5 spell totems versus 3 spell totems, the damage is negligible. The 3 spell totems one might actually be more depending on how you calculate it. But when you add in the decoy totem, right, having a multiple spell totem setup, I think is really worth a lot more.
I mean, I already have a plan to play Shockwave Totem, so it shouldn't be a problem for me. But it's just that now, if I want to play Troll of the Ancestors effectively, I actually just need to play a build that has good crowd control. At the same time, I also need to add a decoy totem to maximize the success lah, right? So if I'm doing that means I have to play a build that is not so gem stuff, and I probably have to do some freeze lah, right? Like that is the most reliable crowd control that I am aware of.
Freeze works, but it is heavily nerfed, but it still interrupts pretty well. Yeah.
But I think there are some items that as in like some items prevents chill and freeze. Then some monster they themselves have like inbuilt stun immunity or like taunt resist or whatever, right?
Yeah, you're right. So not every mob can be taunted, not every mob can be frozen. Maybe not every mob can be knocked back. That is also possible. So what I do is the current strategy seems to be everybody fills out the flanker slots. Then afterwards you have the attackers, then you put the defenders. I personally don't like as a totem player, I don't actually like using the one that has mobs following me, but that might be preference.
Or the escorts. Yeah. So yeah, I myself also I tried to fill up the flankers first. Then I will spread around the defender, escort, and attackers. Like I like to put one escort in front of me. So I mean, I'm not sure if they will target the escort totem first before my own totem, and then I think attackers are the most unreliable. I think if you just leave fill up the defenders first might be better.
I like the attacker slot for those mobs that explode. Those that explode and like kill them.
Oh yeah, there's that suicide guy that just run up and explode, right? So irritating.
If you have totems, you can decoy totem and you instantly get a free kill. Yeah. And one more mob to look out for, right, is when you hear bear traps going on. If you step on one of them, you instantly die. It's horrible. At least for me, I instantly die.
Oh, I was fine with the bear traps, but yeah, there's this mob that keeps throwing bear traps, and you just can't move.
I think it's called the trawler. You can, if you get one, it's quite powerful also. And there's also the turtle. I'm not sure if the turtle got nerfed this time already.
Looking at the patch notes, I think they already nerfed the turtle, and with today's patch note, I think that they limit the opponent to only one turtle. Yeah.
What about the storm guards? Have they nerfed the storm guards yet? Please.
Storm guards are the one with the proximity shield.
Yeah, there's the one with the proximity shield.
Oh yeah, those are quite annoying as well. So I will need to place my ballistas in their proximity shield to damage them.
And does Toxic Rain have to care about proximity shields? Oh, yeah, actually doesn't. Is it?
Yeah, Bane also doesn't care about proximity shield, so you can think about that.
Does Shockwave Totem have to care about proximity shields?
Yes, unfortunately. So, okay, seems like my Shockwave Totem build is gonna be a Sanctum Farmer. If I want to play 12 Ancestors, I probably have to play something else. Uh, 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 uh,
Melee doesn't exist. It's like
so
trying
far from
to
what
ask Melee to play Blight. It doesn't exist.
the most,
Also,
if you're playing range,
is
which you
those
should.
are what we mentioned under worst mechanics. It's actually the enemy bosses, the one right at the bottom of the list when you first start the thing, the Tao something, I can't remember his name, but he has this huge ground slam that overwhelms all physical damage reduction or something. I'm not sure if it was nerfed yet, and it's almost the whole screen. You get touched, you instantly die.
Is this even at low ranking? Because I cannot imagine playing.
It's around 300. You can just die.
Lowly
But there's a
ranked
trick
and
to it.
just starting out.
For Trial of the Ancestors, you seem to win the first and the second one as long as you have your flankers filled up. So what you can do, right, is to fight him early in the tournament, knock him out, and then pray that the others aren't as annoying as him.
Okay. Maybe I'll try out the mechanic once I fix my build for damage and some
Oh
form
yeah,
of crowd
and I want to
control.
say that, right, this league mechanic, right, is so much friendlier than like Sanctum, where Sanctum you only get one room per map. This time you can get multiple silver coins per map, and then you can just store the silver coin, or I think you can even buy it from other people, and then you can just keep running the content, which is very nice.
Okay. So I have already, like I say, I haven't touched the league mechanic at all, and I think I have about 300 plus to 400 plus coins. So it seems like GG has buffed the rewards already. So maybe I'll take a look. Take a look at the league mechanic. Then yeah, and maybe in the next podcast I'll talk to you all about what guy doing some big slams. Then on Reddit, I also saw someone doing some backdoor Dota to me. So it's not PoE. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
what you guys
okay.
are talking
So
about.
I guess we'll move on. So we'll talk about streamers and their new like tech or what they discovered. So I myself have not been keeping up with the streamers. I'm just playing the game at my own pace. So does anyone have any ideas what the streamers have been up to?
Honestly, I haven't really see any interesting mechanics from the streamers, but I did came across one clip that our guildmates shared. I think it was this Zizaran actually explaining where he put his tattoos for his EA Ballista, which I felt it was interesting because like I said, I haven't been interacting with the link mechanic, and I haven't really looked at what are the prerequisites for some of the tattoos, because apparently some tattoos are restricted by how many adjacent nodes you have to have allocated before you can even activate the specific effect from the tattoo. So I think it changes how people path on their skill tree, and that is something that is very cool, but at the same time very annoying, because it means that you have to relearn the path for Excel skill tree again, because we have been playing for so long. Once you are familiar with playing certain builds, you will know that that path is the most optimal way to get damage. But now tattoo changes that. So I'm still looking into, like, I've been just looking at the skill tree. If I'm not playing the game, I'll just be looking at the skill tree, thinking where I can put a tattoo to maybe get some boost for my build.
Right, so I probably have the most time that I can't play PoE because of work. So instead of playing PoE during work, I look at PoE guys during work because I don't really want to do work. So for me, there's actually quite a few interesting things that's happening. One of which I think there's this guy called Dreamcore. It's not actually good tech from what I see. It looks horrible actually, but it's quite interesting. He has Flamewood Totem Chieftain, which everybody wanted to use already. But his spin on it is that he uses a Vow Ancestral War Chief. So decoy total is around 7k HP at level 20. A Vow Ancestral War Chief is 37k HP at level 20. So there's a huge hit. And he does it with Ignite. Except there are a lot of problems with trying to get hit. He has shared that there are some bosses that don't actually hit you in the maps, and and it's impossible for him to actually deal damage to it. He actually had to wait for a passing by skeleton hit his totem before he could actually clear it. But it might actually be useful for some bosses, and then you use another totem for clear. But he has mentioned that he didn't do that, so he had to play through a lot of painful things in order to get his build to work. Another one is, I think I would like to shout out to Sir God. His reporting on like what's happening from the day to day of the league start has been spot on. I think he is one of the first people who found out that who reported at least the new div card, the Fortunate. I think is it the Fortunate? Yeah, the Fortunate is actually dropped by Sunny Beach Maps or something to that extent.
It's the Sun Nature area map tag. If you search it on PoE DB, you can go under map tag, and you just type sun underscore nature underscore area. It should show you the list of maps that are tagged with that, and that is where most of the all of the fortunate card will drop. And I think the past few days when I've been farming low tier essences in dunes, I found like maybe 3 to 4 cards already. So honestly, I think it's a very good implementation because now if people want to farm divine, it's actually easy because through this card, and it seems like the drop rate is quite similar to back when I was farming alleyways for the Saints treasure. You should get it in about 20 maps if you run a magic find character. So one card in about 20 maps seems a bit reasonable lah. And since if you are playing at MF, you run very fast. You just clear the map and then you port out for the next one. Yep.
Right. Grimro also has a video out on it. Basically, my opinion is if Grimro has a video out on it, just listen to Grimro. If Grimro says blue is red, blue is red. He probably has a reason for it. Grimro is my brain god in every game.
I mean, so far I like because I think he took the time off to actually test out Trial of the Ancestors, despite saying that because I remember seeing like his video, he tested out for one day and he says that the league content is just not profitable to do. So as from what I know, Grimro is a blaster. Then if he's not blasting maps to get currency for his like week day 3 mage blood, it seems like he's a bit hampering his own progress to provide some info for all the new league mechanics. And with the league mechanic rewards buff, I think he will be making more content on this on how to earn money, I guess. So yep, I think we can see more videos from him about, maybe we will be interested to watch on how to specifically farm specific tattoos, especially the ones that are very, very profitable, like skills +1 proc, power charge, frenzy charge, endurance charge. The rare tattoos that you can only use one per build.
Alright, since you talk about tattoos, right, there's actually kind of tag for that. So if you look at the tattoos themselves, they have their clan names right there. And generally, near the end of the tournament, you have the highest chance of getting a very rare tattoo. For example, I got my +1 to dexterity skill gem levels tattoo at the very end of tournament, before the buff. And if you you can see the clans there, so you can knock out the other clans first, but you cannot control who survives at the end.
Is this at rank 300, or are you talking about before you even hit 300 rank?
I think it doesn't matter what rank you are. You can actually just aim for any of the let's say, for example, let's say I can't remember any of the names right now. Salio. Let's say Salio totem Salio Tesalio's tattoos are bad. Then you can knock them out first.
I see. So does anyone know what the most expensive tattoos are?
Most expensive tattoos should be the skill gem tattoos. The projectile tattoo. Holy crap. When I first saw it at 5 divines, I thought it couldn't go any higher. I was so wrong.
Oh yeah, so I found that tattoo, and then yeah, I think I found it on Monday or Tuesday, and then so it was listed at 14 divine, but no, as in I also listed at 14 divine, but nobody was buying it. So until I sold mine on maybe a couple of days back, but I lowered it down to 8.5 divine. And then as usual, the first person that traded me tried to scam me by replacing the divines or short of currency and then cancel trade and retrade me. But yeah, but the second guy was real, so I sold mine for 8.5 divines.
So we are looking at the list of the tattoos now on PoE Ninja. It seems like the most expensive is still the projectile one. Then the next one, oh, power charge. All right, but To be honest, if you look at the stats that this one gave, it's +1 power charge with maximum lightning rest. So if you tell me I'm gonna use this for a power charge stacker, this is obviously it's 4.7 divine is very cheap. If you are talking about power charge stacking, because power charge stacking, just one ring itself is almost always going to be close to 90 div, if I'm not wrong.
Wait, one thing to note, there is not a Makanga tattoo. So I'm not sure what the restrictions are, but it might be quite a lot easier. Also, Unnatural Instinct tag is out now. So Unnatural Instinct allows you to get the bonuses of every unallocated small node in the jewel's radius, and it works with tattoos.
But it works with the tattoos that have no restriction. It means like you have the tattoos that have just need to have one adjacent notable for you to use, right?
No, it works for tattoos even with restrictions, I think.
I mean, if it's that case, then UI will be broken. But that being said, it means like they open up where UI can be placed, because previously I think UI the only place to actually make use of UI is actually just above the Scion Life Wheel. If you are playing a feast spell that requires AoE, usually the best spot is there, because you get AoE, you get skill effect duration, you get cast speed. That is the best place for UI. But if this tech actually goes out and you can use tattoos with restrictions, it means that UI the price will keep going up.
I'm pretty sure it can, because like it was shown on either Reddit or some other place or some other video that I found. Yeah. And there's also one more thing to look out for, is that there's a lead mechanic jewel that increases the effect of tattoos within a radius by 100% or by around 100%.
Yeah, I think the jewel you talk about is the Warrior's Tail. I was looking at it, but I was looking, the way I see, the only few places that you would actually put is maybe at the Ranger area and the Shadow, and maybe even the Templar area. There isn't much place where you want to put it at, and the place where it also has good placement for your unique tattoo. So I'm not sure how good this is. Maybe it's a silent buff to the Ranger tree again. So the Ranger tree is always saturated with very good jewel placements.
I actually think it should be broken. I know the witch one should have a double Makanga spot near the top of the tree. So if the ranger one is a double Makanga spot, right? Imagine you get 4 additional projectiles.
How many additional projectile to tattoos can you actually put? 1 or 2?
That one is not limited. Yeah, so you can put as many as you want, but the thing is, you have to. There's the 7 adjacent node rule there.
Right, about the 7 adjacent rule, right? From what I understand, there's around 5 spots for each attribute. For on the tree. So I know the witch has 2 intelligence ones that are very close. I'm not sure if the dexterity ones are very close. If the dexterity ones are very close, and like,
I think the dexterity one is exactly right at right outside acrobatics. So it is definitely within the range of the jewel, because the jewel is actually medium. So Templar has one also. Templar has one at the agnostic, but I don't think medium range can actually hit that note. So it might not actually work. Yeah, as usual, the most saturated points are usually at Ranger. I'm not sure about which, but if you say that there is 7 adjacent there, maybe for which we can look at the blue tattoos that has the special requirements are usually the curse effect and cooldown recovery. I mean, curse effect is nothing much, but cooldown recovery is very strong, especially if you are talking about COC.
Okay, so lastly, we'll just talk about our Atlas strat for this new league. Then I myself, I've been enjoying the expedition, the one big boom, which is quite enjoyable. But there's some graphical issues with it. Like sometimes when I'm trying to place my explosive, I don't see the radius, so which is quite annoying. And then when there are the boxes with immunities, so yeah. Then other than that, I'm also running ritual and harvest. But currently, I've only spec into expedition, trying to spec into ritual now. Haven't really touched harvest yet. Yep.
Okay, so my current strategy has been low tier maps essence farming, and at the same time I have added ritual to my strategy as well because I was keen on finishing the challenges. Currently my rerolls are done already, so I for the ritual challenge, I think the hardest one is actually the one where you are required to capture 200 map boss in a ritual. So that one is actually the bottleneck there. So in the next few days to come, I will respec it to Wandering Path so that I still get ritual. But I definitely can do higher map tiers with that. And I am not keen to do essences for high tier maps because I don't want to die. Then that will be my strat for later. I should be ping ponging around Crimson Temple and City Square for that strat as well because I want my occasional jackpot, and also at the same time, if Witcher happens to spawn in City Square, it can help me get my challenge of the 200 bosses. So currently I'm looking at that. But of course, if I do transition out uh from my current Pyroclast Miner into a Shockwave Totem build, then I wouldn't be playing the map device. I would just be in Sanctum the whole day already.
For me, I started out with the Wandering Path stuff. Played around with the map cause like I'm not really an experienced Atlas map theory crafter. I went to do my favorite, Blight, and Blight has this very interesting tech with Wandering Path where if you spec to the bottom side of the tree, you can get up to 80% reduction of resources on your Blight Tower. So the moment the Blight starts, you basically have enough resources to upgrade most of the Blight Towers. And if your build is weak or you feel uncomfortable clearing Blight, what you can do is you can spec into the node which makes it so that your tower deals 300% more damage or 300% damage, and you deal 75% less damage. That node is a keystone or like something, so it's actually not affected by Wandering Path. So with this tech, you can actually do blights in red maps without even having any DPS. So it could be a Bone Shatter Juggernaut and can still touch blight. I'm not sure why you would want to touch blight with a Bone Shatter Juggernaut, but if you ever wanted to do blight with a build that isn't suited to do blight, I think this is the way to go already. And what I'm really looking forward to is the league mechanic. I decided to use a totem build just for the league mechanic. So with the rewards buff, I honestly thought they would take longer to buff the rewards. With the rewards buff, I will probably be trying to farm the league mechanic as much as I can. But if the mechanic rewards aren't as good as I think it will be, I was actually thinking of using Metamorph because of the totem builds. I'm starting to believe that what you farm should be what your build is good at. Right? You just because Legion is like the best money making thing right now doesn't mean that you should farm Legion on a totem build or a bone shatter build, for example. So since I made a totem build for the league mechanic, totem builds are good at blight and metamorph.
I think currently Sanctum is giving Legion a run for its money. I think currently the most money making strategy currently is definitely in your hideout doing trading. Basically, you just do arbitrage lah, right? Just use chaos to buy cheap cards, get them out with the expensive rewards, sell them in divine, then you earn from the conversion of divine to chaos and chaos to cards and cards to the precious items, right? So apart from that, you can also venture into crafting. But if we are talking about actually playing the game, currently it seems like people, most of my friends and the guildmates have been playing just Sanctum all the way. It seems like it's the most brain dead way to farm currency because all you need is money. All you need is their damage actually, which is what we softcore players have. We don't necessarily have the best defensive builds, but we definitely can gear for offense. Then Legion farming is only good if you have any form of magic find. I would say that you want to at least do a duel for Legion farming. Of course, there is also the kind of playstyle that we will never venture into, the group playstyle where they have 6 men all farming in a very lucrative map like maybe Crimson Temple, or some people like to do in the areas where they usually drop good cards so they can find a set of cards from one map. But those juicing methods, you usually one map itself cost more than our stash set already. So it might not be feasible for us to actually go that route.
Right. Right. Since you mentioned the group play, I think Empyrean, what he did was it's always Empyrean, but what he did was that he used the new Tormented Spirit deck. So he got somebody to get possessed by the Tormented Spirit, run as fast as he can through the maps, touching every single mob. And with that, he comes in and he starts clearing the map. I think that got him like 2 Mage Bloods or something like that, I'm not sure.
I mean, Mage Blood is one thing. They usually for that party play, so now they have the ghosts to start the ghosts. Then they have their usual carry, but their carry always wear something one item that will not allow them to kill. Like usually the glove, right? That's the southbound glove, right? And then they will have a magic find color to count all the remaining mobs. That is how they actually play. So it's very try hard. It's maybe some people like that kind of play style. I think our guild has a duo. I don't know if they do that for the first 3 days, but definitely if you can find someone to have the same amount of investment into PoE, like you really take the first few days off and play the shit out of the game, then sure you can play like that. But for us, we are very casual. We just play by ourselves. If I can make 3 to 4 divs per hour, I am happy.
Bro, like I thought you were describing us when you were like talking about, oh, we have a bunch of people who play a lot of PoE on the first 3 days. I played like 40 hours in the first 3 days of PoE, bro.
I mean that's a lot lah. Like okay, I think we are fellow PoE degens, but the problem now is that we are not maximizing our use. And to be honest, I think sometimes maximizing the value out of your time in PoE is fun, but most of the time it's very tiring. So I usually just maybe I'll try hard for the 1 or 2 days, but unfortunately, this league, I've been hampered by real life meetups, so I can't actually play as much as I used to. So my progress is a bit slower, but still looking positive for what I currently have. My gear upgrade seems alright for the cost, so I'm quite happy about that.
Bro, like we're level 90 the first week of the league, bro. You can't say like you didn't play that much PoE with a straight face. Come on.
I mean, just don't die, right? Just don't die, and you will get to 990 actually. Yeah, I think my death should be maybe around about 150. The other time I checked, I was near 100, right? So, if I haven't died, I would probably be about 97 by now. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I think the way I see it is that this league, the monsters aren't as repeat as Crucible. The league content wise is still standard to me, to be honest. Like there's nothing changed except uh Sanctum is back, and I heard Sanctum EXP is very good. So I'm looking forward to farming some Sanctum for EXP as well, not just for the Divines.
I think those are rookie numbers for deaths. Joseph, how many times have you died once you reach maps?
Probably now I'm guessing 2-3.
I remember you had a horrible league start. You posted like 100 plus deaths the moment you touched maps or something.
Yes. Actually, I started with poison seismic traps. Then I realized. I started as a pathfinder. Like I wasn't sure which route to go, and then I realized for the league mechanic, right, the trap cooldown is too slow. So Totem have a much higher uptime. So I straight away switch the Wilmers, and the Darkscorn was like quite cheap, like 10 plus C. So yeah, I immediately made the switch.
So you got baited also.
Well, I guess so.
League start has been all great for us lah. It's not like we are the richest, but at least I guess this league is not as despair as like Kalandra, right? This one is actually fun. I think the Atlas can't be any better. The whole changes to the Atlas tree is very new actually. If you looked at some of the small passive on Ritual itself, Ritual actually receive a lot of fine tuning. Like if you go Wandering Path, you can actually guarantee special rewards every Ritual, by the way. Because the small nodes used to only give, I think, 20%. So even with Wandering Path, you are getting 80% increased chance of special rewards. But now is 25, and there's two nodes for it. So if you get that, it's 100% increase, which I think, if you are skeptical about the rates of like being 0.1, then it becomes 0.2, right? But what I'm saying is, if you're not seeing special rewards most of the time, maybe you can try Wandering Path. Yeah, you can try Wandering Path with the Keystone, because the way I see is that the Keystone itself is very good for casual ritual farmers. You don't want to reroll, just use the Keystone. Don't take the one that allows you to reroll tribute. You save a lot of points there, so you can the opportunity cost is there. So I think many people fail to see it. The moment you don't need to reroll, you actually take out one cluster of ritual passive on your LSQ tree, and you can think of ways where you can put all those nodes to use. Yeah.
And more importantly, Arch Nemesis no longer exists in its like previous form. It's
Archname will always be in the game. It's just that they rebranded the whole league. They just call it. They just actually most of the rare monsters that you fight with the, the Momoton boss that follow you around, the lightning mirages that walks to you, all those are arch nemesis mods. But it's just that GG wants you to forget that arch nemesis was a thing.
I will never forget that Arch Nemesis was a thing. And they are a lot weaker now. So they are still annoying, but it's not Mirror or Calandra.
Okay, so that's all for this week, and I hope you guys will tune in next week. Bye.
Bye.